Hey everybody, and welcome to the fourth and final piece of modeling and unwrapping the quilted chair tutorial. In this final part, we're going to actually do the final UVW unwrapping for this chair. And if you followed along with the tutorial in the previous three parts, this is where we are at the moment. We have the backrest, we have the seat, the legs, and we have the quilted leather for this thing. So now I want to do the unwrapping really quickly so we don't have to spend too much time for this. So I'm going to select everything here except the piping. I'm going to leave the piping alone. All right, so everything is selected, and I want to go ahead and export this thing out. So go to export, export selected. Choose where you want to save this thing and export it out as an OBJ. And I want this thing to be called Quilted Chair underscore UVW. All right, Quilted Chair underscore UVW, save. I'm going to select smoothing groups is okay, not really needed. Let's go with the smoothing groups as well. So just click on export. All right, done. So now what I want to do is jump over in Unfold 3D. There we go. As you can see, I'm still using the 903 version. The newer version, like the Rizam UV RS or the Virtual Studio, is the updated version, but since I haven't had too much time to play around with it, and they had the brilliant idea of changing almost everything in there, I still haven't shifted over there. So we're going to do this with the older Unfold 3D. All right, so go to Files, load an OBJ. Find the where you exported the quilted chair and click OK, or click Open. Not OK, but Open. It's going to read in this thing and put it in here. All right, so by pressing F4, I can select individual elements, or you can change it over here. So F1, F2, F3, and F4 is basically like selecting 1, 2, and 3, and 4 in max. So F4, I want to select just my quilting, isolate it like it is, and just click on Unfold. Even though this is a very, very dense mesh, this program is going to take its time and give us this thing right away. So like this, I'm gonna make sure it's like so. Let's try and optimize it once or twice. But since, again, like I said, it's a very, very dense thing, so it might take a few seconds for each optimization. So that's why I just want to optimize it slightly so I get a better edge result. So let's try it one more time. For less denser or more sparse geometry, you can relax a bit more, optimize a bit more. But in this case, I'm happy with how this thing looks. So for now, I'm just going to move it out to the side. Again, click on the show. Now click this thing and hide it. So just so I know that that thing has been unwrapped. So with the F4, I'm going to quickly select the legs, isolate, and now go at the bottom, select the bases for these things. So this one, this edge, this edge, and this edge, and press Ctrl L, and that is going to make this thing select the whole line. So you can probably just go over here and select the loops, and now press C. That is going to make those selection loops into cuts. Now I want to take one of these lines that are here on the edges of these legs, like so. Control L again to select a loop, and C to cut. All right, so we have that. So just click Unfold, and everything is really well unfolded. Do a few optimizations here. Let's select this thing. There we go. Plus, here's another thing. When you're unwrapping something like this, in here what you can do, if you want to have a really well and clean result for the unwrap, select all of these edges that are on the corner. This one over here, this one over here. And do this, just select one on each of these at the bottom as well. Control L to select a whole line and click on this button where it says edge horizontal. That is going to make these things blue. So now when I optimize it, it's going to try and make them all. Let's just see if I actually got the corner one. It's going to try to make those horizontally. There we go, something like this. All right, great. So now move this thing to the side. These are actually not that important, but I just want to have them close to each other. There we go. The moving, the rotation, and the scale are the same in Max, so we're working with W, E, and R. All right, select all of these, just move them to the side for now, and show everything back. Select all of these that we did, and hide them up, like so. Let's quickly select our seat, and go with the holding boards there, and isolate all of them. Now these are very easy to do. You just need to select one of these edges. There we go. Control L, make sure everything is selected, and cut. That's it. It's just a box, so no point in going over how to do that. All right, so for here, what we want to do is I want to take this line in here, or we can try and do it with this one. We'll see which one works better. Nah, just let's do it like this. Select that whole thing going across, cut once, go at the bottom here, select these two over here, Control L, and cut. With this, we should have enough tension release just so we don't get any issues. So let's unfold here. As we can see, here is the UV unfold for the seat. Here is for the underside, and this is all for the legs, like so. And like I said, since these are boards, you generally want to have a proper running seam for these. So select the edges like so. Make sure they have the same horizontal thing, and so when you're going to select them and try to get them to be straight, you should have something like that. All right, so let's move this thing to the side again, show everything, and the only thing that's left to unwrap is the seat. So isolate the seat, and honestly though, I don't think we have to cut anything in here because we can just hit on unfold, and this is going to unfold the whole strip. There we go, just move it around. Give it a few optimization runs. This is not that dense, so it's going to give us a really nice look. There we go. So now I'm going to unhide everything, so show everything. Select all of these elements. Click on this Islands Rescale button. It's going to make sure everything is in the same scale, and click on this Pack Translate. So it's going to pack everything into one same texture. So we can call this done at this point and just get it back to max. Or what I can do here is, before I do anything else, I want to check my reference one more time. And I want to see where my grain is going to go for the texture, because I want to make sure that all of my unwraps here, I have the grain going downwards, and this thing is going to the sides like it is. So in order to do that inside Unfold, what I can do is, first I need to go to Load User Texture and choose something I would like to see. I have this seamless wood texture here. So what that thing did is, now I have that texture loaded up in Unfold 3D. And when I go over here, I can change the shading or the texture that's being shown. In this case, I want to turn on Texture Custom. So now I can see that texture being applied throughout the whole thing. I'm going to click over here so I can see just the polygons. And I can see that the way that this thing is unwrapped, the seam for the wood is going down here, and the seam here though, I can see it's a bit of a problem, mainly because I want this thing to run the other way. So what I can do here is select all of these islands, the UV islands, select them like so, make sure they're selected as such, and rotate them for 90 degrees, like so. All right, so now when I put them back in place, make sure nothing is touching or overlapping, and great. So now when I put any of the textures on top of this thing, I'm going to make sure that everything has the seam or the grain for the texture running the right way. And this is more or less what I want. All right, so just go Files, Save OBJ, and it's going to save it on top of what we exported out. All right, so let's go back in Max and import this data back to Max so we can continue working there. So here we are back in 3ds Max. I want to, first of all, I'm going to delete everything that I have here. So now I'm going to go and import the object that we just did, or the one that we just unwrapped. So go Open, import everything, retriangulate polygon, that's fine. Texture coordinates is done, smoothing group is done, everything is fine. So import, and it should be on the same exact spot as the one that we just deleted, like so. All right, it's great. Now, the reason why I didn't export out the enable spline is because when we are in the spline, we can just click on this option, generate mapping coordinates, and this will do, well, it's going to create an automatic unwrap for that thing. So now what I want to do is I want to unfreeze everything. So unfreeze, select both of these and just either remove them or hide them or whatever. So hide this thing. And if I select everything in here and put an unwrap UVW, you're going to see that everything here is now unwrapped. Let's test it out quickly and put a texture on top of this thing. So any material, apply to it. Let's test it out with one of my textures that I usually use for checking. So it's a checker texture. Put it in here, turn it on. There we go. As we can see, everything is more or less the same size. If I increase the tiling to 5x5, there we go. So whatever texture we place on this chair now, we are gonna have it appear as the right seam or the right size. So with this, we about cover everything there is to know about how to create this chair and how to get it to a point where you can apply any material to it and render it out with V-Ray or pretty much any rendering engine that you choose to work with. So again, I hope you guys had fun and you learned something new here as well. If you do have any questions, leave them below. I will meet you in the comment section of the video. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, and if you're not subscribed, now is a great time to do so. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye for me for now.